Hello everyone and welcome back to a extra special spooky stream today. Um so as you can tell it is Halloween, and for this special occasion we will be doing set 7.5 revival on TFT today.
Yeah, so it's week 3, the Halloween edition of the Hive Esports Teamfight Tactics series, as we mentioned, set 7.5 revival. We've seen players like Jai, Patat, and Newt Silver have shown themselves to be very familiar with the current set in Teamfight Tactics, but of course that's all going to change, going back in time a little bit to set 7.5. What are the key differences, both in the concept of set revival itself and specifically set 7.5 compared to today?
Yeah, well, as the name states, set 7.5 Revival is an old set of TFT that has been revamped slightly for today's standards. The main difference in this set are dragons. Dragons take up 2 unit slots and give 3 of one trait. So we'll be seeing lots of potential prismatic traits today.
Absolutely. So it'll be a lot different things to look out for those prismatic traits. Like George mentioned, there'll be some big differences in gameplay and the like compared to week 1 and 2. So potentially some different players rising towards the top. It's Jai that's been running away with it with 3 wins out of 4 in the first 2 weeks, but we'll have to wait and see if anyone can dethrone him. Patat is back for week 3. They did have an absence in week 2, which definitely made life a bit easier for Jai, but we'll see if Patat has anything for them today. But now I believe we are queuing for game number 1. Being the TFT expert, George, what do you expect to see in this first game?
Well, I'm hoping to see some dragons, obviously. Who doesn't love dragons? Like, if you don't, you're weird. And that's not an opinion, that is a fact. But yeah, I'm hoping to see, like, some people struggle, actually, because obviously set 7.5 hasn't been out for long. So maybe if people haven't practiced, they might get a little bit stuck on the dragon to minion slot mechanics. Um, yeah. Personally, I'm hoping to see some Mirage gameplay. Mirage is one of my favorite comps. I don't care how they play it with a bit of Mirage Guardian or Mirage Cavalier, but I want to see some Mirage. Now, Mirage is fun because the trait changes from game to game. So one game you could get attack speed, the next you could get health. So very exciting. And Deja in general, just my favorite unit personally.
Definitely. So we know already our fair bit about set 7.5. We'll obviously be waiting to see how much our competitors know about that past set. So with that knowledge, or I suppose lack thereof, George, is there any one player you're particularly looking out for to be the star of the show, potentially have something for Jai, who currently leads the standings?
Well, obviously Jai doing very well. Again, 3 wins like you mentioned earlier, so very well played to Jai. But I'm looking out for Newt Silver as well because she has shown herself as a really strong contender, taking some second places but not quite making it. So hopefully she gets her revengeance and hopefully gets a first. But I'm also looking out for Steph as per usual, my best friend. So yeah.
Steph was one I was going to mention. We've been waiting for something of a reconnaissance or revival, really,
Yeah.
from Steph. Struggled massively in week 1 and a little bit in week 2, but definitely was some improvement.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm expecting this past set with, I think, differing levels of familiarity throughout the roster. I think that's going to really switch up the order, I think, in terms of who might be at the top. Obviously, the same principles remain the same. It's different sets, different units, but the same loss streaking, win streaking principles, the same sort of leaderboard. I think we are going to introduce as well, George, some bonus points. Want to quickly go over those?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot. So this week we will be introducing bonus points. This will be ways for players that might not be winning to get more points. It also reduces the risks of ties at the end. So we will be giving out 3 extra points if a player gets a prismatic trait, which one player has already done already, but hopefully we will see some more after this. A 3-star 5 cost will also give 3 points, as a 3-star 5 cost is very difficult to get. And then we will also be giving out an extra point for anyone who receives a 3-star 4 cost, as they are somewhat easier to get, but don't guarantee a win, but could still make you lose, as I have personally dealt with within recent history, unfortunately. I've had 3 games in this current set where I have gotten a 3-star forecast and unfortunately lost. So hopefully our players have better luck.
Definitely. So those big units, those 3-star 4 costs, 3-star 5 costs, and those prismatics, not guaranteeing victory by any stretch of the imagination. So composing your team well, positioning them correctly will, I think, ultimately be the difference maker in these 2 games. We're not far away now from queuing up for this first game. You mentioned Mirage as being one of the strongest compositions. Are there any other units that you think you could potentially see rise towards the top today?
Yeah, well, I've been seeing a lot of Rage Wing gameplay. Again, another one of my favorite comps as it contains Xayah. And anyone who knows me, I'm a big Xayah fanatic. So anyone that plays Rage Wing will have my heart. But yeah, another popular comp at the moment is Jade. Jade gives you that little statue, which gives you that healing and attack speed. So better early game and is a good reroll comp. So any reroll fans out there will be potentially trying to go for that.
Definitely. And of course, something else that we also mentioned at the top of the show is that we only have 7 players. So obviously, availability is a little bit mixed. We've just come back from university reading week. Some people
Yep.
are still away from their setup. So hoping for a few more players for week number 4. But this is not something we've seen since week 1. Is we'll have bots playing
Yeah.
in our games. There'll be just the one to fill out our 8-player field, but we actually saw in week 1, if you'll recall, some bots actually ended up winning games and stealing points from the students. Do you think we'll potentially see more of the same today? As it seems like somewhat uniquely to TFT, the bots actually are no slouches.
Yeah. Hopefully the bots pull up. No, hopefully the bots don't pull up. Okay. I would like to see some of our Chai players winning. Okay. Because we can't give those bots points. So that's points wasted, unfortunately.
Definitely, but also the better the bots do, that could steal points away from the top dogs like Giant Patat, maybe make things a little bit more packed up. But we will be back just shortly. We are encountering, unfortunately, some technical difficulties with Teamfight Tactics, but that is all okay. We'll be back with game 1 shortly. We will be right back in just a few moments. And we are back. Welcome back to Hive Esports on twitch.tv/Hive Esports Games. Must apologise for that very, very long delay. The be right back was something of a misnomer, I think. We had to wait until game one actually finished. Turns out you can't spectate set revival on Teamfight Tactics. But alas, we will have game two of just a regular round of TFT with some slight point modifications for our competitors. But we do have the results of game number one, and it's Newt Silver taking her first win of the series. It's Coco Slayer in second, Patat in third, Jai all the way down by his standards in fourth, Pastel fifth, Steph unfortunately still struggling in sixth, and Mr. Mango in seventh. So the bots taken down by the Chai students as Taco the Rock, another very creative bot name, in P8. So that's some good points also likes of Newt Silver and Coco Slayer. Anything that immediately jumps out to you when we look at that leaderboard?
Well, thank God, Newt Silver finally getting her first place. So congratulations, Newt Silver. We're very proud of you here at the Hive team. But yeah, I'm seeing a few like Radiant items here, a few 3 stars, but nothing too outstanding, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm sure it was a great game. But yeah, unfortunately again, and we apologize that we weren't able to stream that. That is on us, but it won't happen again.
Absolutely. We can always figure something out for some later weeks so we can still see some different gamers who don't want it to be just regular TFT all 10 weeks. But for the second game of week number 3, it will be just a regular game of TFT with 50% extra points for everyone showing up today. So those 7 players have got something to look forward to, and that will help give them just a little bit of a boost in the championship. Of course, what would be 8 points for a win now rewards 12, all the way down to 2 points for 8th place. So we'll have to see just how that helps our players. As we go back into regular TFT for our second game, when the current set, no set 7.5, unfortunately. Are we expecting more of the same that potentially we saw in week 1 and 2, George?
Yeah, again, players should be comfortable with this set, and by the looks of it, I think we're going into it. So, yeah, yippee, we have a TFT game.
We do. Nearly an hour into the stream, and we've just seen our first carousel. This is quite something as we enter phase 1, 2. This is our first PvE, as we are now looking at Pastelover's first choice just coming out of the carousel.
Yeah, again, hoping that everyone should be more familiar with this set as well, as it is the current set. So maybe Jai will be more familiar and get another win this game.
He will need it if he wants to retain that championship lead. Only 4th place in game number 1. Newt Silver making up a big wad of points there. We'll see if Giant can hold on for what would be a 4th win on the series. And phase 1-3 still going through PvE. Now looking at Mr. Mango here.
Mr. Mango with a 3 cost already. Very lucky from the minions there. So, or maybe we'll see some mentor gameplay. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of date at the moment. I've been playing Set Revival myself, so please excuse me if I'm a little bit slow today.
Well, the one person who knows anything about TFT is out of it. This bodes very well for the expert analysis on game number 2. But back into the planning phase. Now looking at Newt Silver, winner in game number 1 here in week 3. Of course, no PvP just yet. Everyone's still building their comps. Obviously, we mentioned the strong comps, the likes of Mirage and Jade in set 7.5.
Yeah.
Well, are we looking potentially more of the same? We saw Cogmore comps in week 1 and 2. Is that sort of the same sort of thing we're going to look at for this game as well?
Yeah, obviously, last time we spoke about Cogmore comps. Cogmore was a scaling character, so the longer the game went on, the stronger he would get. But he did recently get changed along with Smolder and Rammus. They no longer scale, they just have increased stats at the start of the game. So while they are still really good units, and some of the best at the moment, they just work a little bit differently at the moment. So yeah, definitely we saw Nude Silver enjoyed her Cogmore comp, so potentially we'll be seeing that again. But yeah, again, heavyweight still really strong. Star Guardian, Soul Fighter also really strong comps, so potentially a lot of those this game.
We're already seeing our players on the right hand side seeing leveling up. A lot of our players investing a lot of their econ into experience points. Jai the first to get up all the way to level 5. Everyone else still on level 4. as they continue to build with their additional units. And the clock continues to wind down. And finally, we enter some PvP. We've got Jai versus Mr. Mango in our first fight on the stream here in game number 2. And immediately, Jai going on the offensive outnumbers Mr. Mango quite a bit with a 2-level advantage. And this looks to be something of a formality for Jai. It's a 3v1, becomes a 2v1, but Jai does get the win over Mr. Mango, as does Patat, Steph, and Newt Silver in their respective games. That puts those 4 at the top of the leaderboard. Everyone else down to just between 96 and 94 points as we head back to the planning phase.
Yeah, a very strong start from Jai there. Again, he's level 5 already with that Callista and a Guard Breaker. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of heavyweight units around the map at the moment. Seeing a few Battle Academia, Soul Fighter, Heavyweight. So, you know, a lot of the usual comps, but haven't seen any Cogmores yet. Very good.
See if luck is on anyone's side. Try and get those stronger units. We now see Patat versus Mr. Mango. Mr. Mango trying to right the wrongs of his last match against Jai, and looks to be doing so, but Patat does get a pick there. We're seeing a lot of heavyweights in the middle of the park here, but it's Mr. Mango getting the picks now. Back to a 2v2. We'll see if that ranged fire for Patat can do the business, but it's a 2v1 in the middle of the park. But Patat will get that pick. It's now a 2v1, and Patat will get that win. It's 2 losses in a row for Mango, 2 wins in a row for Patat, so that will help both their econs. But of course, that does put Mr. Mango on the immediate back foot, as we see more leveling up to level 4.
Yeah, definitely. That was such a close round. Like, it kind of looked like Mr. Mango would get it. Kind of looked like Patat was going to get it. Very backwards and forwards. But yeah, unfortunate for Mr. Mango. But Patat had the item advantage there, I fear. So yeah, just naturally got that. Steph here with 3 Juggernauts. Potentially going Soul Fighter. Potentially going Juggernaut. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Back into the portal we go, and we've now got Steph versus Mr. Mango again. Mango getting all the highlights here. 3 matches in a row where he will feature. We'll see if he can break that losing streak. Steph currently tops the leaderboard, tied with Patat, Jai, and Newt Silver. So everyone has either won or lost 2 matches thus far. It's Mr. Mango getting a pick, though, immediately with a big numerical advantage in the middle of the battlefield here. We'll get another pick, and it's a 4v1. And all of a sudden, Mr. Mango looking world stronger than he did in his first 2 matches. And that is a first win on the night for Mr. Mango. Dethrones Steph from the top of the leaderboard. It's Patat and Newt Silver that remain on 100 points as we head back into the carousel.
Yeah, justice for Steph there. Like, how can you beat that guy? But yeah, Mr. Mango, while a win is good, unfortunately he will lose out on that loss streak. So a little bit less gold from him. But yeah, seeing lots of offensive items on this carousel. So unfortunate for the people that want to get some defense, but very good for the people that need some damage.
We'll see how this helps everyone's comps. Anyone you think is particularly lucked out and got potentially exactly what they need in that carousel, or are we still potentially waiting to see exactly what compositions these guys are even building so far?
Well, Patat seemed very flexible, as she had slammed her items earlier, so maybe she is just going with the flow, and you know, what she got is what she's going. So yeah, Coco Slayer here with a Nashers on the Katarina there as an executioner. Nashers will provide her that mana that she needs.
And we are back here with Coco Slayer, and you will never guess, Mr. Mango is back on the battlefield once again, as he just comes off of a win versus Steph. Coco Slayer currently sits at the foot of the leaderboard with a 3-loss streak on just 83 points, potentially trying to snap that against Mango, and looking very, very strong in the middle of the battlefield. It is a 5v1, and that is quite the convincing victory for Coco Slayer. Snaps that loss streak. Mango now, again, down to just 1 loss. That econ will be hurting for Mango. Coco Slayer now on a win streak and up to 7th on the leaderboard. Newt Silver still leads, the only one left on 100 points as Patat lost her game.
Yeah, another potentially strong game for Newt Silver here. But yeah, Coco Slayer leveling up to level 5 to get that stability for, well, obviously, so she doesn't lose as much health. But yeah, but as we can see, she also has a few 2-star units, and it appears that that is just stronger at the moment. Like, a lot of people appear to not be finding their units, but that goes without saying. A lot of the comps are contested, so
We will see now as we head back into the battlefield. You'll never guess who's just appeared on the top right of the screen.
oh my
It's
God.
Mr. Mango for the
We
fifth
just hate
straight
that guy.
game.
Like,
He is evidently the center of attention. We'll
Yeah.
see if he can do anything to get back up towards the top of the leaderboard. He's facing its Pasta Lover right now. It seems to be a fairly even match, and it's going to be picks on both sides, but now a 3v2 in favor of Mr. Mango. Now a 3v1, a fairly convincing victory for Mango as Newt Silver 5 in a row on the win streaks there. Pasta Lover down to 5th, Mr. Mango up to 6th, but again, Mango with these win-loss, win-loss, his economy will not be all that great compared to everyone else who's either win or loss streaking at the moment. You have to say, though, while his composition looks strong, that might come back to bite him with less economy right now.
Yeah, again, quite a strong comp at the moment, but a very tumultuous game for Mr. Mango apparently, but we just can't get rid of that guy at the moment. You know, he's everywhere, popping up, but yeah, hopefully that means the streamer luck is upon him today, and yeah.
We're now actually watching our very own hired bot to fill out the field. That's Dazim09. Currently sits at the foot of the leaderboard in 8th place and just 73 points. 5 losses in a row, so their economy will be working quite well. We'll see what sort of composition they can build. And now, focused again on Mr. Mango. See on the right-hand screen, Newt Silver leveling up to level 6. So using that win streak economy to get some experience points, additional units, of course, with that level up for Newt Silver, only strengthening her team comp, you'd have to say. Right now, Newt Silver most definitely looks the strongest, but I would honestly look at the likes of Dazim, who's on a 5-loss streak, the likes of Jai, who obviously we know just how good he is at building team comps, and you know, Newt Silver running away with it at the moment, but I wouldn't say this is at all done and dusted. We've got Mr. Mango for the 6th time in a row on the screen. He's facing Jai now, who is currently leading the championship standings. Only 4th place though in game number 1. Looks fairly even at the minute. Mr. Mango getting a couple picks as well, and it's a big numerical advantage. Now shifts to a 2v2, now 2v1, and they will get that last pick, and it's Jai taking down Mr. Mango. And that will be, again, another win-loss for Mr. Mango. Jai getting another win. Newt Silver up to 6 in a row.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mr. Mango. Jai is also going the same comp, but unfortunately Jai just has that full cost unit before Mr. Mango, so just a little bit of a stronger team there. And yeah, like we mentioned earlier, Newt Silver with that, 5, 6, 7 win streak. 6, I'm not going to say that. 6 win streak. We do not brain rot on this channel.
Anti-brain rot channel.
Yeah. But yeah, a very good econ from Newt Silver. Unfortunately, only at 10 gold at the moment, but with this win streak, she's probably going to be able to keep it up. So, yeah.
I've just noticed this might be the anti-brain rot channel, but do you notice how much health Dazim is on at the bottom of the leaderboard there?
Oh my God, it's Steph. Steph is known for saying that at the moment.
Is he? I'm not sure I can root for Steph right now, if that's how he's acting.
Yeah, Steph has cursed us. He's cursed us all. Like, Steph, like, how could you do this to us?
Absolutely not on, but back to the battlefield here, and you'll never guess, Mr. Mango is not on the screen for the first time in this game. It only took until phase 3 too. We've got Newt Silver going up against, I believe that's Steph. The name tag just out of frame, but Newt Silver with an amazingly strong comp picks off their units like no tomorrow, and that will be a convincing 7th win in a row for Newt Silver. Just looking unbelievably strong in the early game here, as Pasta Lover down up to 2nd despite losing that game. Patat as well losing, as does Dazim and Coco Slayer. And Newt Silver looking particularly strong. Heading back into the planning phase though, this is the opportunity where obviously everyone rethinks, goes back to the drawing board, just sees what could they possibly do to stop Newt Silver, because right now she is on an absolute tear.
Yeah, I mean, unless Newt Silver makes some mistakes with her econ or planning, I fear she might be in for the running at the moment. But yeah, Pasta Lava at the top at the moment due to Tiniest Titan, I believe, an augment that just gives you more health and a bit of healing. So definitely going to be better for the long game. But yeah, Nude Silver again, despite having low economy, she makes up for it with that really strong team. So yeah.
And we're now back into the action. We've got Jai versus, I believe this is Newt Silver again.
Yeah.
In the top right of the screen there. So we'll see again, probably the two strongest players at the moment, and you can see why. Trading pick for pick in the middle of the battlefield. Both of them, though, have their own amount of ranged fire. Still, it is a 3v4 by way of Newt Silver. And now a 3v1, 8 wins in a row. Jai's win streak is broken. Newt Silver now 8 wins in a row. Mr. Mango gets another win, as does Coco Slayer and Dazim. So as we head back to the carousel, Newt Silver does lead still with a perfect 8-0 record. Pastelova in second, tied with Jai. Steph just 3 points behind them. And Mr. Mango, Patat, Coco Slayer and Dazim rounds out the 8 players.
Yeah, again, very well played from Newt Silver. I don't think anyone's going to be able to topple her unless she, makes a mistake. But it seems like she's on the ball today. So potentially, her day. Like, she wants to win and she is gunning for it. So props to her. But yeah, as we just saw, Newt Silver and Jai, two of our big players at the moment, battling it out there. Patat there, as we can see, with the Smolder, again, one of like the Kog'Maw Rammus comps, one of the most popular comps in this tournament so far, so good to see him back. But yeah.
Obviously, Steph now using some of his econ that he's got now from getting a couple wins in a row. He's up to level 6, and that will get him some additional units, but of course, New Silver up to level 7 with the 8 win streak econ that she's got. We see Coco Slayer following suit. As we now see Coco Slayer in action against Patat. This is 6th versus 7th, so this could be potentially a decider in terms of who potentially gets eliminated first. Every point matters in a game where there is a 50% booster points, don't forget. And with how tight the competition is, every point matters. This could be pivotal, and it looks like Patat is going to get the win here. 3 versus 1. Convincing for Patat. Their conflict's particularly strong at the moment. Newt Silver with 9 in a row. Coco Slayer with another loss, as well as for Dazim. And that just puts a bit of breathing room between Patat and potential elimination at the moment, with 7th and 8th Coco Slayer and Dazim falling by the wayside a little bit.
Yeah, and as we can see here, Steph doing really well. Our Brain Rot King over there going Star Guardian. Fortunately for him, I don't think there's any other Star Guardians on at the moment, which is both good and strange because Star Guardian is, again, a very prominent comp in this tournament. So yeah, again, 9 win streak from New Silver there. Very good for her economy, so we'll see how that goes.
We're heading back to the battlefield now, and it's Steph versus Dazim. Dazim with a 2-level disadvantage over Steph, and you can really see the advantage that Steph has just with the amount of units and the strength of them. Dazim, though, does get 1 pick, now does get 2, 3 picks. Steph with his back against the wall somewhat, as he's now at a disadvantage. 4v5 now becomes a 4v3. Picks on both ends, but now 3v2 in favor of Steph. Becomes a 2v2, now 2v1, and just about Steph will scrape by. A valiant effort, though, from Dazim with the 2-level disadvantage, but Steph does get that all-important win, shoots himself up to 2nd, and it's a perfect 10 out of 10 for Newt Silver, as she still sits untroubled at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, unfortunate for Dazim, but we don't care. That's one of our bots. We want them to lose. But yeah, absolutely insane there from Steph. Although he has a few low-starred units in the front, he still managed to pull through there. That Ari just absolutely clutching that last cast at the end. So unfortunately, Dazim didn't have the items, didn't have the damage to contest Steph there. Coco Slayer here with 3 Negatron cloaks and 2 chain vests. Really unlucky, unfortunately, there. Not any items that she's gonna be particularly wanting, but she's gonna have tanks, that's for sure.
Definitely, we now see Newt Silver getting some of her units. Got Darius and a Jace as well, both 2 stars for Newt Silvers, who also just leveled herself up to level 7. And those 2 additional units coming in clutch for her in that 10-win streak. She's not far behind everyone else. She wasn't the first to level up to level 7, but is not far behind, using that econ wisely. As you now see, Pasta Lover and Steph will now take to the battlefield 2nd versus 5th. Pasta Lover on a 6-loss streak. And you see at the bottom, 53 goals. This could be a win for Steph if Pasta Lover is trying to get something of a loss streak going. But Pasta Lover looking particularly strong. He's managing to get a couple picks of his own and is now at a disadvantage though, as Steph's backline comes in clutch, tears through the front line of Pasta Lover and eventually ends with a 4v0 and a convincing win for Steph. 7 losses in a row for Pasta Lover, but only 5th place, which I have to say looks to be quite good for Pasta Lover. As usually 7 losses in a row put you down towards the bottom, but that augment that granted them that additional HP coming in very useful indeed.
Yep. Steph gunning for that win. He wants the prize, of which we will be revealing later, so please stay tuned for that. But yeah, Steph doing very strong this game. Definitely getting revenge, or definitely trying to go for that comeback from last game, because yeah, as we know, Steph went 6th last game, so definitely going to be pushing for higher positions at the moment.
He's very impressed with himself last week. Of course, a double top 4. Not quite breaking on to the podium, though. That is definitely the next step for Steph. And right now, he sits 2nd place behind only Newt Silver, who is, as we've mentioned, on an absolute tear. 11 wins on the bounce. Seemingly nothing can stop her. And we've now got another fight here between Mr. Mango and Giant. Mr. Mango making his well-awaited return to our screens after being the focal point of the first 6 matches in a row. And Mr. Mango looking particularly strong. It's a 4v2, becomes a 5v1, pardon me. And that will surely be the win for Mr. Mango. And it is up to 3rd place. Giant down to 4th. But again, that's Mr. Mango breaking a streak and have just the 1 win, as Newt Silver gets her 12th win straight here. And she is flying away from everyone else. Her nearest competitor, Steph, a whole 31 points behind.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Mr. Mango and Jai contesting comps, which is a little bit unfortunate for both of them, as they won't be able to get as many units as they need. But unlike earlier where Jai had that unit advantage, it looks like Mr. Mango is coming back with that unit advantage instead, with 2 sets and a Samira. But unfortunately, Jai's Samira just wasn't able to do enough damage because of that frontline from Mr. Mango.
And we are now spectating the ever untouchable Newt Silver. She's going up against Pasta Lover. Does have the level disadvantage over Pasta Lover, putting more of her economy that she's got from that 12-win streak into other areas. But you can see just why she's won the last 12 in a row. You see health depleting rapidly for a lot of Pasta Lover's units, and now they fall down. It's a 5v0. Wasn't even close, and it's 13 wins in a row now for Newt Silver. Pasta Lover down to 5th. Jai with a 2nd loss in a row. Patat on 29 points, and Coco Slayer on 18 points, hanging on by a thread. As we are back to the carousel, Newt Silver, even with a level disadvantage, just tearing everyone to shreds.
Yeah, absolutely dominating. As we can see, she's put that economy to good use with that that 3-star Kobuko and all of those 2 stars. But fortunately, everyone else is just unable to compare. But I have been noticing we've got a few golden traits that are potentially going to transform into some prismatic traits. Mr. Mango and Jai, notably, with that 8 Soulfire. So potentially some extra points for these people in these games. So yeah.
We're going to head back into the planning phase in phase 4-5. We'll see just how much econ is used by these guys to, whether it's XP, whether it's additional units or what have you. Jai, though, up to level 8 crucially, so as you mentioned, does get that unit advantage. So Pasta Lover picks up a 2-star. Jinx heading back into the battlefield. It's going to be Jai versus Newt Silver once again. They currently lead the championship 1st and 2nd. Newt Silver with a win in game number 1. Jai only 4th. We'll see if he can make comeback happen here. Jai not going down without a fight. We'll see if Newt Silver has anything for him though. Jai's frontline looking particularly strong. Is going to get the picks. Now a 2v2, 3v1. Newt Silver just about gets it done. 14 in a row. But that wasn't as convincing as they have been in the past for Newt Silver. Potentially warning flags for her as Jai, despite being on 3 losses in a row and down to just 31 points, still producing some very strong comps that could have something for these guys later on in the match. But Newt Silver, 14 in a row.
Yeah, unfortunate for Jai there, just being contested by Mr. Mango, but a very good fight against Newt Silver there, like showed a lot of promise. But unfortunately that Kobuko just didn't want to die, and you know, props to him for that.
And next we've got Patat versus Newt Silver. So we'll see if Newt Silver can get a 15th win on the bounce, but Patat's frontline looking particularly strong. Both of these comps looking very frontline heavy, not a lot of backline range fire. Really only 1 unit each for the pair of them hanging back. And it looks like Patat again not going down without a fight. And it's a numerical disadvantage for Newt Silver. She's going to get 1 pick, but then one of her units will fall. It's going to be a 2v1, and it will be a 15th straight win for Newt Silver. But again, very, very close, both from Patat and Jai, who we know are very, very strong.
Yeah, just a lot of healing from Wraith there, as you may or may not know. Wraith gives you healing based on how many Wraith units you have, and I believe Newt Silver has a couple going on there, so yeah, definitely very well played from Newt Silver, but very close and a very valiant effort from Patat there.
Heading back into PV. Let's get a quick rundown of the leaderboard. Of course, Newt Silver with 15 straight wins does still lead with a perfect 100 points, and quite a ways back is second place. Mr. Mango 64. Dizim all the way up from at 1 point 8th, now sits on 5 wins in a row. You notice the fire around his avatar. He now sits 3rd, just 1 point ahead of Steph, and then a big gap back to Patat, Pasta Lover, Jai, and Coco Slayer, who lay really all only 1 or 2 more losses away from total elimination. And some of these guys, specifically Patat and Jai, at this point in the game, you would not expect to see 5th and 7th.
Yeah, Jai, like, this is an unfortunate game for Jai. Like, again, Jai has won all of his games as of far, but yeah, I mean, there's still a chance for him to make a comeback, but unfortunately, I think Mr. Mango has him in a chokehold with all of his units, but yeah, really unfortunate for Jai this week.
As we're now seeing Coco Slayer versus Patat. Coco Slayer must win to stay alive. Pasta Lover does lose his game, and now Patat getting the picks that she needs to take down Coco Slayer. Coco Slayer is out, and they will finish 8th in game number 2 of week 3. Pasta Lover hanging on by a thread on just 4 points. Patat and Jai both getting very, very crucial wins in their own games against Steph and Dizim respectively. That brings them just a little closer. Potentially, with their backs against the wall, they are not out of it just yet, but still back in the planning phase. Pasta Lover, the first player to reach level 9. So I think this is very much a last-ditch effort from Pasta Lover, putting all of their econ back into those additional units, that additional experience points, to try and stay alive on just 4 points. Now looking at Mr. Mango versus Jai. Jai must win if he is to stay alive in this. But Mr. Mango getting some solid picks, looking very, very strong. Jai, though, coming back, does get the win over Mr. Mango. Steph, though, does lose his game, as does Dizim. And all of a sudden, the dynamics of this game now changing massively. Jai with a massive win over Mr. Mango, whom he was contending with for that comp, as you mentioned, George. And all of a sudden, the complexion of this game, I think, has changed quite drastically.
Yeah, while Mr. Mango has a little bit of everything, Jai has like a little bit more damage and a little bit more frontline, and it's just slightly more focused, which just let him creep that win in. But yeah, unfortunate for Mr. Mango, as Soulfighter needs those wins to get to that prismatic augment, but it looks like he's going for that 3-star set as well, so that man wants his points.
a big win then for Jai as we now head back to the battlefield. It's Newt Silver versus Patat. It's Newt Silver still with a perfect record. We'll see if she can keep it up versus a very strong Patat. This will not be an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. Newt Silver's frontline line looking particularly strong. Does get one pick. You now see big damage in the front line again, but Patat as well responding with picks of her own. But that backline looking particularly strong for Newt Silver, gang up on that one single heavyweight unit. But it's going to be a 1v1 now at the bottom of the park, and the streak is snapped. 17 wins in a row will not be 18. And that could be a big, big loss. Pastelava, unfortunately, does fall out of the game. He will finish 7th. Steph on just 2 points. Dazim on 7. Both of those one loss away from elimination. Jai and Patat fighting back from the snapping jaws of defeat, it almost seemed. Now might just have something for Mr. Manga and potentially even Newt Silver, as that one loss could change everything.
Yeah, as we can see on Patat there, she just has those 3 stars over Newt Silver. Like, Patat with that 3-star Smolder, that 3-star Darius, while Newt Silver unable to find that 3-star Malzahar. Close, but unfortunately not there yet. And yet, Steph, our Brain Rot King, in his favorite position, number 6. No additional comment there, unfortunately, but yeah.
So now go to Jai versus Patat. Something has to give between these two. These are the two that have come back from having their backs really against the wall here, but now something has to give as they face each other. And this will be one of the most pivotal matches in this late game. And it looks to be Patat steamrolling in the middle of this fight, but Jai fighting back. It will be Patat, though, that does get the win. Jai down to just 5 points. Steph does fall out. Will finish 6th again. A disappointing night on the whole for Steph. Jai in 5th. Dazim also now just 1 loss away from elimination in 4th. Patat in 3rd. Mr. Mango in 2nd. Newt Silver with a 2nd straight loss now, down to just 76 points. The gap at the top starting to close just that little bit.
Yeah, unfortunate for Newt Silver kind of falling off at the moment. That a really strong start, but unfortunately just not able to get the units she needs, which is really unfortunate. But we can see Patat here versus Dazim, which we know who we want to win here, obviously. But yeah, Dazim with the crew, having those 3-star units, but absolutely annihilate Patat here.
Not even close. Zim does get the victor over Patat, and that puts Patat in a bad position as Jai is eliminated. Just 5th place for Jai. So a 4th and a 5th. A far cry from the clean sweep of week 2 that we saw just a couple weeks ago. And now just 7 points for Dazim, 5 for Patat. Both of them 1 loss away from falling out of the game. Newt Silver, though, crucially gets the win over Mr. Mango, now over double Mango's points tally. And you'd have to say, I think, despite that brief blip of 2 losses in a row, I think this is still Newt Silver's game to lose. We're back in the PvE phase. Everyone getting additional econ and units. See, Newt Silver takes a 2-star. Jace just to flesh out her composition a little bit. That becomes a 3-star now, a 3-star unit for Newt Silver. As we mentioned, that's probably just what she's needed, really.
Yeah,
that's what caused those 2 losses. So I think still this is Newt Silver's game to lose.
Yeah, again, like, hopefully she finds that Malzahar. I get 1 away from Malzahar there. Really unfortunate, but as we can see, she's got that 5-cost Seraphine that's just been thrown into the mix, and that really juicy Poppy in the front line there. Lots and lots of frontline on Newt Silver's team. I think she can still take this win home, but Newt Silver versus Patat here. Newt Silver losing last time, but her comp is a little bit stronger this round, so potentially a win for her this time.
We'll exactly what Patat can do. One game away from elimination, needs to win to stay alive. We're seeing a couple of Patat's units down to very low health, but getting some picks against Newt Silver as well. We'll see as this fight does come to an end, just who has the numerical advantage in it. Is Patat. They do stay alive, as does the Zim as well. Both of them managing to get wins as Mr. Mango and Newt Silver do fall there. But Newt Silver still leading the way on 62 points. Mr. Mango on 20. The Zim on 7. Patat on 5. And now with Newt Silver really struggling to put a streak of either wins or losses together, this is starting to hurt her economy just a little bit. Do we think that 17 win streak at the end, or at the beginning I should say rather, is enough to keep her alive at this point, because she is beginning to struggle?
Unfortunately, Patat going the same units as Newt Silver, just with slight variation, means that Newt Silver's units are going to be contested. But yeah, potentially, if other players do well enough, they might take themselves out before Newt Silver even gets to low health or in a critical position. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Two of those players being Patat and Mr. Mango. And we're now seeing Mr. Mango fall against Patat. And now all of them down to just single digits. The Zim does get the win over Newt Silver. But the Zim on 7, Patat on 5, Mr. Mango on 3, meaning in the next game, something has to give. And I think someone has to be eliminated.
Yes, like everyone on really low health there, but yeah, Newt Silver's win streak just keeping her alive at the moment. But yeah, this is definitely a very close game yet again.
Definitely, of course, with extra 50% points, every position matters, with 14 points now, of course, for second place and 10 for fourth. So those 4 points could be all the difference come the end of week 10. So now all fighting to stay alive. It's Newt Silver versus Mr. Mango. Mr. Mango fourth. Newt Silver still in the lead, staying alive with that 17 win streak at the beginning of the game. We'll see if Mr. Mango can stay alive. Something has to give between the Zim and Patat. One of them will eventually fall here. Both of them getting picks. A really, really close fight in the middle of the battlefield here. And it'll eventually come down to a numerical advantage, and that is Newt Silver getting the win over Mr. Mango. So Dazim and Mr. Mango both eliminated. That leaves just Newt Silver and Patat left in the carousel. It's Newt Silver on 47 points, Patat just on 5. But of course that doesn't mean it's over just yet. One win for Patat could swing the momentum just enough in her favor to get this done, so it's not over yet.
Yeah, either I'm having deja vu or this is the exact same as the first week, where it was Newt Silver and Patat like headbutting each other at the end. I don't know what word I'm looking for there, but clashing heads, I don't know, but a very, very close game between them indeed. Newt Silver here with the 3-star Malzahar, but potentially unwilling to give up that Seraphine, but she has the health for it, so might as well.
Definitely not a bad choice. Newt Silver does have the luxury of potentially being a bit more liberal with her choices. Patat has to get this right, lest she be eliminated. Only on 5 points, one loss away from elimination, and this could be the final fight of the game. Newt Silver versus Patat, both level 8, both with very, very strong team compositions. We'll see what they can do. Health depleting on both sides. And could this be the sweep now for Newt Silver? 2 wins in a row beckon for Newt Silver, but Patat coming with picks of her own, and it will be Patat getting the win. Newt Silver down to just 31 points. Patat stays alive, and that could be the crucial win for Patat to take this game to Newt Silver. Very much not over yet now.
Yeah, as we can see, Newt Silver there with that 3-star Malzahar just maybe might do that little bit more damage that is just keeping Newt Silver from finishing off those units from Patat, but she's holding on to it at the moment. She's not revealing her cards to Patat, which is very dubious, very devious.
You have to imagine Newt Silver will eventually have to put it all on the table though to beat Patat, because at the moment Patat, just off the back of that last match, looks particularly strong. But a 3-star Malzahar pick for Newt Silver. Could that be all the difference? An additional 3-star unit? We'll have to wait and see, because it'll be just a few seconds before we know whether Patat will fall or whether she'll stay alive to fight another day against Newt Silver. With a 17 win streak at the beginning of the match, will that prove enough to keep her alive against a Patat who's been resurgent from the bottom of the leaderboard all the way to the top? But it is Newt Silver that does get the win. She swept week 3. Patat eliminated. It will be second place for her. Newt Silver takes her second win in the series, second win of the week.
And welcome back, guys. I wasn't slouching and I wasn't sleeping. Don't worry, I'm back now. But yeah, very well played from Newt Silver there. Again, like getting her revenge from week 1 and getting that win. But yeah, hiding her cards until the very end, so Patat wasn't able to react. Very devious, but very smart indeed. So very well played from Newt Silver this week.
Definitely, that's of course going to be a massive points haul for her. 20 points she will gain off the back of this with the 50% points boost in game number 2. Jai, unfortunately, only 4th and 5th, so he will surrender at least some of that lead, if not all of it, when we calculate the points once we are off the air. But that 17 win streak at the beginning of the game for Newt Silver just proved to be everything, because, I mean, Giant Patat and Mr. Mango were all surging back up the leaderboard after those loss streaks, but once Newt Silver had all that econ from all those wins and that health advantage, it didn't matter really how strong they were. Newt Silver could just hold on. But after an exhilarating couple of games, unfortunately of which only one we actually got to see, that's changed up the championship standings big time. What are your main takeaways from week 3?
Well, Newt Silver really showing us that she is here to win, you know. She is here to stay. She is here to play. So very well played. But yeah, again, we saw a lot of the same comps from last week or the previous weeks. Again, a lot of heavyweight, a lot of Lulu with Smolder Cogmores. And yeah, but very well played to everyone for today. And we are very sorry that we were unable to spectate the first game.
We will have 2 games for you, though, next week for week number 4 of 10 of the Hive Esports Teamfight Tactics series. But that is going to wrap up all of our action for week number 3, and we'll have the points ready for you on all our social medias, on X, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Potentially some clips might be coming out as well. So if you missed the live stream, you won't miss any of the action. But that'll be everything for week 3. Thank you very much for watching from myself and George and all the production team here at Hive. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.